Our next speaker, please, will be Lukáš BoB Marvan, UX designer at AVG. And he will talk about sustainability of UX design and role of a UX designer in business and society. Lukáš will be covering this year's official topic of usability, World Usability Day 2016.
Good morning. My name is Lukáš Marvan, and I'm really fluent in bad English, as you will see soon. So my apologies for all the mistakes which I will make. And actually, first, I like to start with some small introduction of myself. There was one small mistake that I'm not anymore working at AVG because AVG was just acquired by Avast. So that's first thing. Second thing is that before I start working at Avast, I used to work for Seznam.cz, which is something like Czech Yahoo, you maybe know it. I used to work there for 10 years, and from, let's say, front-end developer to the lead of designer team. And I'm also a master of marketing communications. And at the end, I'm proud member of Czech Union for Nature Conservation. That's like my chronic volunteer part of me. And why I'm saying this, because like you know that the topic of this year is sustainability, so I will maybe approach it also from this side, so please don't be surprised. And the last thing which I'd like to mention is that, yes, I say that my name is Lukáš Marvan, but please call me BoB. It's my nickname. It's also good for CEO. Because if you will look for Lukáš Marvan, you will find the spokesman of some firemen in North Bohemia. Yeah? So a lot of disasters and so on. That's not me. Yeah, I'm BoB Marvan, and this way you can easily find me. So that's everything about my person. Let's move forward. So what's ahead of us? Actually, I warn you that I will be talk a little bit about sustainability, about maybe environment, but on the other hand, I don't like to bother you with some small environmental issues or some nature conservation and so on. Please don't afraid of this. I rather like to tell you my two stories and some thoughts in between of it. And at the end, which will be approximately in 30-40 minutes, I also would like to run some small discussion with you because I'm really looking for some questions on Slido or directly to me here. So that's the plan, and let's start. First story is about our AVG call center. We were in situation when our current solution was basically too old, too ugly, and so on. And this interface is actually nothing what should be used by ordinary people. This interface is only for our agents which are on phone and trying to solve all the troubles which are put on them by our users, which are calling them. And the goal was to increase efficiency of these agents, yeah? So make them working faster, basically. And this was the original task. So how we approach it? Obviously, we need not only to solve the troubles of agents, but we were also looking for the side of our customers. Yeah. So what happened to us was something like this. I, as designer, on one side, I was trying to solve the troubles of our customers on the other side. Yeah, this is some small business consumer somewhere from the mid of USA, and I need to somehow establish the connection with him, because like what he's doing, he's calling our agents via some phone, but I'm still not in direct connection with the agents. So what was my original task? My original task was to design the interface for the agents, which will serve the agents to like fulfill the needs of that small business guy at the end. So where is the task? The task is on the right side. The best service for the end user, not here. Yeah, the shift is really instead of thinking about the interface here, we need to start with the needs of user on the right side. So what was the solution? It looks maybe simple at the beginning, like simple task, but instead of designing some new simple online form, we end up with something completely different. We end up with designing of the call script. How will be led the steps within the call with the consumer, and that is something what probably nobody except neither me. Like at the beginning when I heard the task was like, okay, so another form, but at the end, like it's obvious that this is task of designer. But I can bet with you that my boss at the moment when he hired me, he never think like this. That he think probably something like, okay, I will hire Bob for designing all the e-commerce stuff, pages, etc., but not for designing the call script. So yes, from digital designer, UX designer, I still feel like UX designer because it's still part of perception, but we can call it maybe service design, I don't know. But it's definitely shift from the original state of mind that we as designers are designing only the UIs and so on, to that service design part. And that's the place where it should be from now forever. So basically, my message is that our roles are definitely changing. Yeah, the business is changing. The borders between product, service, and marketing are almost gone. Like it's really hard to distinguish what's still the marketing part and what's service, for example. And because of many clever things like this Fitbit, for example, the service is merging with product. Yeah? That's the famous Internet of Things part. So what to do with this? With this change, we can do nothing, basically. The shift is happening right now, and it's happening with us or without us. We can only decide if we will be part of this change or not. Yeah, that's everything what we can do. So let's take a look on our future jobs. I have one example for you. It's example of designing a bank counter in virtual reality. Imagine that you wear the headset, or what's the name of that helmet, and you will visit your bank in virtual reality. And my question is, what kind of design it is? 3D design, I don't know, service design, or game design maybe, because I'm using that virtual helm. Actually, I don't know and I don't care. It's not important to me what kind of design is this. I only like to be ready for this change, as I mentioned earlier. So if I like to be ready for something, I need to understand what is moving to us. So how big is this change? This moves me to second chapter, which is my brief thinking about the future of design. And when we are talking about design, we need to also talk about the technology, because from my perspective, it's still like chicken and egg situation. The question is, design determines technology, or technology determines design? Like, I don't know what was first. Like, if there was first some idea to make something, and then we have to find the right technology for it, or somebody developed really nice technology and we are thinking how to use it for people. It can be both ways. So again, I'm sorry, I don't know. And as you can see, I'm not afraid to say I don't know. That's one important thing which I think you can do also quite always. You have the right to say, I don't know. I need to figure out it. But what I know, at least I believe what I know, is that the technology and design should serve to people. And that's the main goal. So take a look at it from slightly different angle. Take a look for the relation between machines and humans. Machines first. You probably know the Moore's law. I don't like to explain here in this building what exactly is the Moore's law, but I like to show you how it's usually perceived. It's usually displayed like this on a logarithmic scale, so it looks like quite easy thing, but the reality is slightly different. When we display it as, or like draw it on linear scale, you can see that since, I don't know, like 2005, it's really like a huge difference in our reality. And what does it mean in practice? Like, I pick up a few examples, two. The first example is this. Like, I like to ask you, who of you make such a huge improvement in your drawing skills in such short time, like 10 years, or I don't know how long ago when the first Tomb Raider was released, but that's the difference. This is the practical impact of Moore's law. And the second one is from field of Internet of Things. I have to say that this is a prediction. But again, like when you look on the right side, there is year 2020, and in top right corner, there is number like 50 billions of devices connected to the network. Yeah, like imagine, imagine it. And yes, we are more and more connected, definitely, for sure. And we need to design all of these things. It's incredible. It's huge task, but I'm not making these predictions. I'm only showing you the predictions which other people did. I only like to emphasize how big is the change which is ahead of us, and we are now in this change. So when I'm talking about us, that we are in the middle of change, I have to ask how well we are performing now. So humans, what about our IQ? In last 50 or 60 years, our mental improvement was approximately 20 points of IQ. It's just not bad. We are getting smarter, definitely, but in comparison with that exponential rise of the power of machines, it's almost nothing. Yeah? So at this moment, I start thinking what we can do with this. But from my perspective, the resistance is futile. And why? Because the human's perception is linear, but the progress is exponential. So I don't know what about you, but I don't like to compete with machines anymore. Like, there are definitely some tasks which belongs to machines, and I believe that we have to focus on the tasks which belongs to humans. So another question, how to survive is in this hostile environment. This leads me to that sustainability topic, and that's actually my third chapter. As I mentioned, we are in hard times as designers. Our roles or disciplines are changing, and the discipline is so young that we even weren't able to describe it well, and it's already changing. Yeah? Like, we still somehow don't know what we are exactly doing, what's our approaches, what's our best methods, and we are in that movement. So the same for other jobs around us, because the technology shifts also the job offers. There are some new jobs, but some old ones, the traditional ones, are like disappearing. And so, what to do with it? I believe that there are some points, action points, let's say, which we can take. Let's focus on people. That's first thing. Really, I'm not saying that you shouldn't learn some new technology or so, but focus on people, because people are only getting older and older, but the evolution is basically too slow to make some big difference in our behavior. So once you will learn something about people's behavior or humans' behavior, it will last forever in your life. And the second point, I wish we will be the bold designers, like the ones who will define the strategy, what to do, how to do it, but not how to improve some small bits, because the small improvements are exactly the part which can be run by machines. Yeah? Like all of the A/B tests, all the measurements, that's exactly what is able or what's possible to run by machines. So please focus on strategy, focus on defining the goals, focus on the let's say product itself from 0 to 1, what it should be or how it should change, not how to, let's say, improve the color of button. I know it's sometimes also important, but exactly this change can be already now run by machines, or if not now, in near future, it will be done like this. Small disclaimer, these are only my ideas, my points. I'm not saying that this is ultimate true. I only like to give you advice how to approach our changing situation. And how to get ready for this. There's a few steps which we can make or take. First, educate yourself. And that's exactly what you are doing right now. You are sitting here, you are listening to me, you are trying, or you are hoping, let's say, that I will tell you something clever about the design. It will maybe happen, maybe not, I don't know. But definitely you are trying to educate yourself. But educate also your community. That's something what Suksa is doing, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to learn something. Or I try to give you some advices. That's about sharing our knowledge inside of the community of experts. And that's nice, but I still think it's not enough to survive. So the last step is educate the society. We need to breach our expert bubble and go out of this building, and start educating the society that way, that they will perceive that the design and I mean not only the digital design, but design thinking is the important thing, the right thing which we should take as advantage for the future, and it will lead us to some interesting results, I believe. So why educate the society? First example, the clients will, at least I hope, better understand our jobs, and they will more willing to hire us. That's first thing. Second thing, the students, or at least some of them, and I believe that here are some students, will may become designers too, and they will create other jobs, because any high-skilled, high-educated job create another ones. Yeah, like this basically works this way. Like any high-skilled expert create several other jobs positions for it. And actually, I don't know what about you, but me personally, I like more educated competitors than poorly paid ones. Yeah, because like the competition is really good thing, but when the market is like overcrowded but by not so educated experts, then it changed the whole situation, and people will stop trust us and so on. So my personal approach is to like educate other people, to have more educated experts around me than those poorly educated and poorly paid ones. So what's the difference? I don't know if you know this graph or this chart. It's difference between 15 public companies which are led by design or like design-oriented companies, and another 500 from S&P index. And in 10 years, there is more than 200% difference in their value. Yeah, so this is practical impact of design approach to the business. And I have the last point here, why to educate the society. I believe that only educated society will be more rich, and only this kind of society is able to fight with other problems which we have around the world, like poverty or climate change. Like, people will always focus on themselves first, and only if they are okay and fine, then they can help others. It always worked this way, and it will work this way forever. So we need more rich society, and then we can help others. So, design, people, education was the result of this equation. I believe I have one answer for you. It's exhibition. And actually, why exhibition? That's something what we did in Czech Republic. I came with this idea like 2 years ago, and we call it digital design behind the pixels, like take a look behind the pixels. So we call it in Czech za pixely, and we use this hashtag so you can look for the outputs of it. And actually, I like to run exhibition because it has low threshold. So there is no entry fee. It's basically open to everybody. And it's also with low time dependency. So it's not even like this, which is at one day, at one place, but it's much longer, so you can attend it anytime and like perceive it. And the third point, in classic offline exhibition, there are no disruptions. Like when you go out of your comfort zone of online and out of your zone of clicks, you can be in some quiet room and read only the text. It's the place where you can focus on the message. So, as this idea, I approached two organizations in Czech Republic. The first one was Association of UX, which is similar to your Slovak SUXA, and the second one is the Czech Design, which is quite old, traditional, or old, like 13 years or something like that. Czech NGO, which is let's say the main actor on Czech design scene. They are organizing exhibitions, events, and so on. And I asked those two organizations to cooperate for this project for a while, and to help me show the society how we are working. So, what was the goals of this project? Basically, introduce the digital design to wider audience than just a few fellows, like here on conference. So even even your mother will finally understand what we do. That was the goal. Like, make it really as much clear as possible, and also try to close the gap between the online world and offline world. Like, show people that the difference between those two worlds are not such big, like that the design approach which is taken on one side can be applied also on the other side. That's another thing which is quite important from my perspective, that the design thinking and human-centered design is really a universal solution, and it's not it's not good to apply it only on one part of the problem. So, what was the target groups? I can take this quite quickly because it's quite obvious that we'd like to educate our colleagues, designers from offline world. We also like to educate the business to, as I mentioned earlier, like to gain better understanding from their side what we are doing, to spread the knowledge. And students, actually, I believe that there is a gap in Czech Republic how many students or basically designers we are producing from our universities and what are the needs of the market. I don't know exact number yet, but we have another project which is like touching this topic, and I will maybe talk about it later. But I'd like to attract students to the topic of design, and at this moment I'm not speaking about the like college students, but I'm talking about the high school students. Like, when they are in the phase of choosing their future, choosing their jobs, I'd like to tell them that the design is interesting opportunity for them, and not only from salary perspective. Like, I'm at this in this moment, I mean everything what we are doing is really interesting. I think we are enjoying our jobs, and at the end, of course, the general public. And what was the let's say structure of the exhibition? I basically, or not only we prepared it as crowdsourcing, let's say crowdsourcing on crowdsourcing principle. We defined these 10 topics or 9 topics in one slide for learn more, and I asked several Czech experts to prepare the content for it. So there were topics from strategy through graphic design to, for example, usability testing and accessibility and so on. The informations which were on slides were really basic ones, but at the end of each slide there was a section, the black one in bottom right corner, where were links to like learn more, where you can read more about this. So basically, we prepare like 10 or 12 posters like this, and we put them in the gallery. We attach some presentation to it, like videos from user testings and so on. But not only this, we run also several events, not only the opening event, which was the biggest event in the history of Czech Design Gallery. Actually, there were like over 200 people. It doesn't look like at this moment, but it was real overcrowded at one moment. And we also established a lot of talks, which were again like quite low on basic level, for better and like let's say entry topics, and that's the best description. And also workshops and some excursions, like a lot of events in quite short time to use them for promote the topic. And it was like from marketing perspective, it works that way, that the events promote the exhibition and the exhibition promotes the events. Yeah, so it really works in this circle, and this way we were able to like talk to a lot of people in quite short time, because the topic was at that moment quite everywhere, or not everywhere, but we definitely go out of our social bubble, and we reach many of people out there. So, and it doesn't end up only in offline work. We also have a lot of interviews, and we made videos from the events and so on. So you can everything find on Czech Design CZ/Zapixely. And what was the result? The first run of exhibition was last autumn in Prague. In 6 weeks, we ran 11 events, and we attract to the exhibition over 1,000 visitors. And I'm not saying I'm not mean some online cookies. No, these were really physical people which attend the events and the exhibition. And it was quite huge, like 30 volunteers participate on it, so I'd like to say big thank you to them. And everything wasn't possible with our partners, like MSD, NetSuite, LMC. LMC, you maybe know Profesia here in Slovakia, so this is like Czech branch of the company, Jablotron and iStyle, so another big thank you to them. And actually, we are not finished yet. This was last autumn in Prague, but since that time we visit also other 3 cities like Zlín, Brno and Plzeň. In each of these cities we spend 3 weeks. In some of them we have only few events, like 1 per week. In Brno they were almost same crazy as us in Prague and run 11 events. So, and each of these events was visited approximately by at least 20 people, so you can count it. And the plan is to run at least 1 or 2 cities next spring, and maybe, I don't know yet, but maybe we will also visit the Bratislava city with this exhibition. So you can use it, not for you, you are not the audience, yeah? Like you can take your friends and use the exhibition to explain them what we are doing. Because I believe it's very well written there. And actually, what was the impact? I have quite a lot of examples, but I picked this one because I think this really nicely describes what was the reason why we were doing it. And actually, after 1 year, one lady write me this email. And actually, I didn't ask for anything after that 1 year. 1 year ago, she attended the exhibition, then she attended some of the events, and then she asked for some training, especially for their company. Verlag Dashofer is like publishing house, and it's definitely not some small publishing house. It's quite big publishing house in Czech Republic. It's German, it's branch of German company, but it's located in Czech Republic. So I think if people perceive the impact of our work after 1 year this way, I believe we did it right. So, that's almost the end of my presentation. I believe that if I was able to do something like this, all of you are able to produce, I'm not saying the exhibition, but somehow educate the society around you about our jobs. And that's basically my main message, that you are able to do it, and you should do it, because I believe that the more educated society will not only use design clever way, but it will be more rich, and then we can solve all other troubles around us. Yes, I'm simplifying it a little bit, but let's take it as my final statement. And if you should remember something from this presentation, not only this last statement, then please remember that times are changing, but it's same as always. It never will be different. The change is still ongoing. So focus on people. And the last thing is, please support your civil society. That's it. Thank you. Wow. I think I'm in time still, so I will pick some questions from the Slido, and I will start with the how do you educate money-obsessed bosses? Do you remember the graph where is that huge difference between the ordinary companies and design-led companies? That's something what I'm trying to explain them, and that's, let's say, my starting point. But then you basically have to show them some money, which means you have to run some at least small change, measure that change, or change, I mean change in design, change in some procedure, change in some flow, measure that change, and show them the results. What's important, it shouldn't be big. It should be at least something specific, something concrete. Like exact number, to show them that if you approach the task from the design perspective, it has the impact. That's probably the best method how to make it in 2 steps. Like show them the numbers from other places, and then show them some example that it really works. Is this answer to your question? I don't know who Michal. Yeah, okay, thank you. So the next one, now many designers are just making older products better, yeah. Do you really think this could be done by robots? That's a nice question, because at this moment, from my perspective, older products better is really only improving the current state. Yeah? So if I'm really curious about some small subtle changes, like should be this link be the button, for example, then yes, maybe I'm the designer who can suggest it, but definitely the robots will measure it, and in some systems, they can also automatically apply the results of this test, so you even don't touch it. But if we take a look on this topic from strategic perspective, I believe that the future is not to take the 20 years old product and only to like improve it by these small steps. You should take it as new starting point, take a look on the current technologies. If the old trouble, the 20 years old problem can't be solved by completely new technology or new approach to it. And this is the strategic change, which at this moment I believe that this strategic change can't be made by robots. So on one side, we have these bold designers, which I mentioned earlier, which are defining the new bright future. And on the other hand, we have some CRO optimizers, robots, and so on. Please don't take me wrong. I'm not saying that the measurements are not important. I'm only emphasizing that it's much more important to focus on strategic approach than on these small improvements of these 20 years old products. That's it. And again, like some anonymous. So I don't know who asked, but I believe that I at least somehow explained the difference, how I'm trying to approach the design tasks and design projects. Can you walk us through how you get from a concrete task assigned by boss to a more broad approach? Actually, two things to this topic. First thing is that not in all tasks I'm in this kind of situation, or maybe three things. First, not all tasks can be approached like this. It's nice to approach it like this. It's my advice. But the second point is that how to say it? Like in ideal situation, I'm receiving task in, let's say, one strategic sentence. We'd like to do this because of this, and that's it. That's ideal start of the project. Like when there is some strategic intention, and you can start on it from scratch and analyze the situation, do the research, and so on. If you are not in this nice situation that you are at the beginning, and it shouldn't be the whole new product, let's say. The strategic task can be something like, this is old, it's not performing, please improve it. And you can choose if you like to improve it step by those small improvements. That's also possible, but you can also take a look on the task, like from the strategic perspective, do all the analysis, and like run it as a whole new project. And the last point to it is that when you are approaching also the small task from this strategic perspective, and you are critically thinking about the task that way, that you, for example, organize some workshop where you can, with your colleagues and all the inputs, analyze the situation that way, that you can see the bigger picture than was the original task, then you, maybe not always, but sometimes you will figure out that the original task was somewhere here, but the problem is on the different place. So basically, how to ask boss to move for this wider approach is do the analysis and explain him, hey, you are asking me to solve this thing, but I figure out that the true problem is over there. Yeah, like that's the shift, how you can move there. And if he will get it, you can start the rest of the design procedure, how to solve the true problem. Yeah. So again, like I don't know who asked, but I believe that this is the answer. What are the most common design tools methods used in AVG? What are your personal favorites? Okay, like I will start from the end. My personal favorites are the pen, pencil, and paper. Like, really, you have to sketch first to capture your ideas, your notes, everything what's in your head. Like, not only the solutions, but also the questions, because at the beginning of any task, there will be many questions in your head and you have to answer them. And if you forgot one half of these questions, then you are completely lost. So at first, when somebody asks you to solve something, you need to capture not only your ideas, but also all these questions you would like to ask colleagues, or you need to do research about them and so on. So yes, definitely my favorite tools are these paper ones, let's say. And what are most design tools methods? Actually, like we are using the prototyping tool Axure, but that's only one bit from the rich field of different methods which we are using. And actually I have to definitely mention that we have our own research team, which is ordinarily running a lot of user tests. We are running also many of A/B tests and so on. So like it's really like a huge scale of methods which we are using. I'm sorry, I'm not able to be concrete probably in this case, because it also depends on the department. Yeah, like now I'm working in online department, but the colleagues from product design are also using Axure, for example, but slightly different methodology of the design process. And that's it. So yes. Thank you for deleting the rest of the questions. I know that we are end of the time. I believe you at least somehow enjoy it, and thank you very much. Sorry, excuse me. One more thing. I mentioned the project about that we are trying to figure out how many designers is out there. So please remember this hashtag. There will be maybe later some note on it, but please follow this hashtag on Twitter and you will learn more soon. Thank you.